Hi, hey guys. Thanks for joining us. So we're going to be doing another simple shape. This one is a torus, technically. It's a circle that's been extruded around a center axis to make a donut. And the reason we're going to talk about this is because it's another thing that you might need. You might need ringlets, and they're kind of obscure, and not everyone covers them. And it's you also might need to make like a half ringlet. Like say you're making like a an arm for a coffee cup, or yeah, there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different reasons to make this type of torus shape cut in different ways. And a couple things we're going to talk about too is this section view and why we did it. We didn't technically need it, but it does show us a view that is interesting to see, and it does kind of make sense. So just putting that all out there, we have a 50 millimeter diameter outside and a 150 millimeter diameter, or 50 inside and 150 outside. I think I said that backwards the first time. And 50 millimeters tall. So this gives us some insight here, right? If this is 50, that means that center side is most likely 50 out from the origin or from the center of the mass. And this is 150. So 50 minus 50, or 150 is 100. So that's most likely going to be how wide our thing is. And then we're seeing that it's 50 tall, which also makes sense. So let's go over here and let's try to make this. I made this drawing a couple days ago, so I might make a mistake in how I draw this, but we can do this. Let's look at our view one more time, double check what we're looking at. Front view. So that most likely means we did this. Sketch, front plane. Let's pull this off to the side a little bit, make a circle. Let's say, oh, made a mistake already. I've done that twice now in a row. Let's not do that. Front plane. Pull this over. All right, we're going to say, I believe it was 50. We'll double check our dimensions in the end. It might have to be 150, but I think it's 50. Because a 50 height, yeah, would make sense. If this is a 50 height, right, from here, that would make sense. We're not going to go from here. We'll see why in a second. So let's dimension this out. Because we know this has to be a specific distance from the center, right, to make that. If we said this is 50, this might be 25 in here. No, it will be 50. And let's think about this. If this is 50 across, that means this is a 25 radius. And if this is 50 here, that means this is a 25 distance, right? So if that's a 25 distance and we're going to revolve around this axis, we'll get 50 plus, or 25 plus 25, which equals 50. Cool. So we kind of know what we're doing here. And we talked about this with the ball tool, how we couldn't really use a center line to revolve it because it would fill in itself, so to speak. Like the geometry would overlap itself as it extruded, and SolidWorks doesn't like that. So in this case, it will work because when we see what we're doing, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna fill in ourselves. But one thing we don't want to continue on here before we leave this sketch, and you might already see what I'm going to talk about here, is it's not fully defined, right? This is blue. If I leave this sketch here, that minus sign doesn't leave. And designers don't like that because that means they can't pop in and easily move things around and tell you how to edit things on the fly if they needed to. So we always want to define things. And the reason why this isn't fully defined is because we don't have a height distance from the origin. We have a length distance this way, but not a height. So we have an X, not a Y. We could easily fix that by trying to make a dimension in the Y direction, but we can't get that, right? So weird, what do we do? Let's click that point, and let's click this point. But let's also hold Control, because we want to select both of them. So we're in our properties now, and we have both of these points, the point of the origin and the point of the center tool, or the circle tool. And then we have the only existing relation is the distance between them. Well, what if we set it as horizontal? That would make that Y distance set to 0 in plain speak. So let's do that. And instantly we see it fully defined. So cool. Let's revolve this sketch. And you can see it automatically realizes what we've done. It defined that center line and it said we want to revolve it 360 degrees. So that's cool. SolidWorks sometimes does know what we want. Let's check and see if we got our origins and everything in the right view. Does our donut look right? It does. And do all of our distances feel right? Does everything look right? It does. And we did the mental math to know, how far these things are. I don't know if I can grab that inner circle. I might be able to if I do something like this. Let's change the view to like a wire. Yeah. Can I get that dimension now? No, I can't. It still wants to select the whole item. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I don't know how to right now. Maybe in the back of my mind it's somewhere. If you know how to in the comments, drop a line and remind me, and we'll go back to that. But sometimes you might need the different views. I like to use either hidden lines visible, hidden lines removed, or shaded, because those all really work well for me. But I think we got our donut or our torus shape done. So cool. Let's talk about this revolve tool. I don't know why I keep getting that word mixed up today. What if we did 180? Half donut. And that is a lot like our section view. So just wanted to show you that you could do not a whole 360 degrees. You could cut that in half too. You could do any degree and make any type of half donut shape or quarter donut shape. All right, I think that's it for this one. Thanks, guys. We're going to move on now, I think, to basic parts. And that is going to be basic parts from the CSWA guide, certification guide, but I'm going to make all the parts myself, and I'm going to edit all the dimensions, and we're not going to do the exact parts because that's no fun. Let's do all different parts, but they're going to be similar in thought process and what you would do to make them. And we're going to time them all out. Basic parts, I think I mentioned this before, basic parts will take 5 to 10 minutes. Intermediate parts, maybe 10 to 15. And then advanced parts, maybe 15 to 25. And then, as you start building parts to objects, you'll assemble them, and that'll add time and things like that. So we'll build up to that. Just be looking for the different videos that come. Thanks.